Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Computer America Show, our pre-show. We've got a great program lined up for you tonight. Sticky passwords going to be here in the second hour talking about, well, passwords. And Speaker is going to be here with the first hour talking about the social media and how they're finding, how to make you, I guess, best way to say, how to become a social influence, really, in the social media. All that coming up here on Computer America, so stand by, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
One minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. That's right, it's Thursday. We're one day past hump day. And,
Or one day till Friday, which everyone seems to enjoy much, much more.
Well, this is true. Looking forward to the weekend, actually. We have a terrific show planned for you tonight. Again, Sandy Berger, who was our consumer electronics expert, wasn't feeling well last night, so we wish her all the best. I'm sure everything will be fine. She'll be back with us next month. But in the second hour, we're going to explore the world of passwords. Yes, passwords. You need passwords to securely access all the sites, things that you do, and trying to remember all those passwords could be a big job. And so, and there are password managers out there to help you. We're going to actually talk to one which is kind of interesting, has a slightly different bent, called Sticky Password, and they're going to be with us in the second hour of the show, and I think it'll prove to be an interesting hour with them. And in the first hour, we're going to be talking to Speaker. That's spelled with a S-P-E-A-K-R, okay, Speaker.com. And we're going to be talking about how to become a social influence, really, kind of a special segment here. And we're going to be joining them in a few moments. If you have a comment, question, or suggestion about anything we're doing tonight, or for a guest, specifically for a guest, give us a call. 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. Email. We have a special email address when we're live and on the air. Live, L-I-V-E, at ComputerAmerica.com. You can also join us in our live interactive live IRC chat room from our home.
Wow, well, that is just driven into your brain.
Yeah, it is. It's the first time I've done that, though. Just go to our interact with the show on our homepage, and it says chat and live video. Just click that button. You'll get a split screen. On the left-hand side, there'll be an entry form to enter into the chat room. You just put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there. and click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. If you want, there's more ways to better format it. We have IRC clients there that on our free software page. We have a button to access that as well. But that's totally arbitrary if you want to do that. Also sharing that same page on the right-hand side is our live Computer America video streaming page. That's right. Computer America not only can be listened to now live, you can also watch the show. You can see myself, Ben, sometimes our guests, demonstrations. You can actually watch the show. And, of course, everything is archived. If you miss any portion of the program, you can listen to the archive here on Apple's iTunes, on Blog Talk Radio. Also, the video archives, which is the audio and video, are archived on our YouTube page. We have all the links. Everything you need to know is at computeramerica.com. Okay. So that said, we're going to get started with our first hour guest, Speaker.com. Ben, anything you want to mention before we get started?
No.
All right.
Not that comes to mind, so I think we should just get into it.
Okay. Well, Speaker.com, according to them, has 4 years of data and campaign experience, allowing them to predict performance with a near crystal ball level of accuracy, giving you the most control over the typically uncontrollable medium of social. They've won awards, dominated the Super Bowl, March Madness, and dozens of opening weekends, all in the name of developing world-class results and continuing to raise the bar for their clients. Tonight, they're joining us for a special how-to segment on how to become a social influence. Okay. Ben, you're not a social influence? I think you do.
No, I do peer pressure, or at least I am subject to peer pressure, but no, not myself.
Well, joining us is the CEO of Speaker.com, Marco Hansell. Marco, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing fine. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight. I kind of paraphrase what I thought that Speaker's about, but obviously you being the CEO are going to have a much better handle on it. I attempted to explain to our listeners, but why don't you, in your own words, explain to our listeners what Speaker.com is all about?
Oh man, it's a lot of pressure because you did a pretty good job. Speaker, basically, we're word of mouth for the next generation. We've taken the way that traditional word of mouth used to work, and then just said, hey, how can we identify the most influential people on social networks that could spread a message to their friends and their hundreds of thousands or millions of followers sometimes, and that includes anyone on Twitter, on Instagram, on Vine, on Facebook, and the like, and then connecting them with a brand where they could actually get compensated for becoming that brand's advocate, either creating content for them, and distributing their content, or showing up at their store, and a number of different things. So,
okay, all right. So, when you say someone is a social influencer, okay, what is that? I mean, what is a social influencer? And evidently, are they any different than, let's say, from celebrities? Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think the core difference is that celebrities have gained their popularity from something they do offline, right? So, if I'm following Shaq, and I'm following Shaq because he played for the Lakers or the Magic, or I'm one of the 10 people that watch Shazam, right? But if I'm following like a Joe Blow online and 100,000 people are following him, that's 100,000 people that have said, I have no idea who you are, but I love your content. Right, so they become famous from what they post on the internet and what they post on social media, and as a result, they have an entirely different engagement and a really good relationship with the followers that are sort of following their stream of content.
Well, can you give us some examples? I mean, obviously we know famous celebrities, movie actors, whatever. But who could you give as an example is a social influencer, that we might know?
Yeah. So I mean, at the highest level, you might have seen this guy on Newsweek and Time Magazine. You might have heard of him. Jerome Jarre is a guy who's really popular on Vine and popular on Snapchat, and he just travels around like doing random pranks, right? So he'll prank people or ask people questions. He'll do silly stuff. Like I think on I think it was American Airlines, he, actually was a big controversy about this because he was wearing just like a floaty device and underwear on the airline and taped the whole process. And this guy, just to put into perspective, he gets like 1 million views when he sends out a Snapchat. And I believe he has like 6 or 7 million followers on Vine as well. So you're talking about people that, rival the viewership of a CNN, like, or of our traditional medias, like of major TV shows. These guys can push out with the touch of their button to all of those followers. And in a lot of cases, somebody like a Jerome or, a Curtis Lepore and some of these other names that, may not be household names, they can push out messages and ask people to come to a corner cafe and get, hundreds of people there in a matter of minutes. It's pretty amazing.
Ben, you're shaking your head. So you've heard some of these people before?
I've heard of things like this. Like there are celebrities who like you mentioned, they make movies. There's sports stars, there's singers, there's actors. There's all these kinds of people, and then there's an entirely different group of famous people who are probably even more engaged by their audience because their audience is pretty much what made them famous. They're famous for being famous, and when that happens, they're so much closer. They're so much closer to their fans and things like that. I do it with gamers all the time because let's face it, there aren't really any other way to be active with gamers. So other than playing games and being in the community. So I know people who that they'll have 300,000 people watching them in the middle of the day just because they're online and they're streaming and they're sitting there in a chair playing a game. It's 300,000 people, but it's crazy. People like it because they're so involved. It's a very interactive experience as opposed to saying, oh, I'm a huge fan of so-and-so celebrity, but are you ever going to get the chance to sit down and talk with them or ask them a question?
So
Probably not.
So you're saying that one of the things that's attractive about these people is they're very accessible.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other words, you're right. I mean, if you're watching a big movie star, you're watching a Harrison Ford or whatever, what are the odds are you're going to get going to be able to speak with them or chat with them? That's probably not going to happen unless you pay them what was it? We did that news story we did $160,000.
Oh yeah, we pay Harrison Ford $55,000 to star in a movie with him. But no, they're very accessible. There are many ways to get in touch with these people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it's the relatability there too, because in a lot of cases. Some of these guys, like there's one of the influencers, Christian Del Grasso. He used to live in Canada, and he started building up a Vine following. Just a regular guy, average guy who's just living a normal life. And as his following started growing, he connected with us, and we started matching him up with brands. And then before you know it, he started to make enough money where he could afford to move to LA and then link up with other content creators and now to this day, it's been maybe a year or so, and he's now like the number 11 most followed person on Vine. He has I think about 5 or 6 million followers just in that time period. So the growth is so organic and it's so user generated. Like it's not that he was chosen by Universal Pictures to star in a giant movie. It was that people said, "I like you. I like your content. This is funny. This guy's funny," and they started sharing it. So that buy-in really came so naturally. It came from word of mouth, essentially.
I see. And so it's their popularity is because they're doing something that's popular that people like.
Sadly, and we joke about certain celebrities who are famous for being famous, but some of these guys, either they're famous for being funny, they're famous for playing games well, they're famous for having great lifestyle tips, they're famous for having good advice. Like they're famous, but they're not famous for typical famous people stuff, which is starring in a movie or being rich or something like that. It's just everyday stuff who do things well or people enjoy.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So. So at Speaker, do you somehow interact with these people? Are you an agent for these people? What do you do? How do you interact with these? What does Speaker.com do for that? Or
Yeah.
do you, or yeah.
Yeah, so we have a technology that scours these social platforms and identifies these people that are the lesser known famous people, so to speak, right?
Okay. Okay.
Right. So then once they're found, then we have a team of people on our side that are responsible for reaching out to these guys and letting them know, like, hey, you might not have known this, but you're so popular in the category of whatever it is, golf, or you're so popular in food that a wonderful company would love to pay you to talk about the things that you already love doing, right? So at that point, they get invited into our platform, and once they're part of our platform, then brands can offer them different opportunities. So influencers have taken these opportunities, and they've done everything from getting flown to festivals, and then getting compensated for documenting their life at that festival.
So you're actually finding corporate sponsors then for these people who tie in. Is that what you're doing?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
You got it.
Okay. So
yeah.
So you're actually bringing these people with these abilities and bring to the attention of corporate sponsors who may have some sort of tie-in with whatever it is that they're doing, and that say, hey, this is a very positive thing. We're such and such a company, and maybe having this person speak about whatever it is, and we sponsor him, so people will see, when it's brought to you by whatever, and you make all that happen. So in a way, it sounds to me like you're sort of like an agent in a way.
Yeah, I mean, we're a technology-powered version of the CAAs and the William Morrises of the world.
Got it.
So I mean, they've taken it from like the traditional endorsement model, and we take it from a tech model where we can be a giant matchmaking service. Because typically, what will happen is these brands will come to us and say somebody like Fox, where we just finished doing a big screening for them with. Kingsman, the Kingsman movie.
Yes.
So for Kingsman, they're like, all right, we need to get 20 top influencers to come through to our different screenings. So our technology is identifying the best matches based on the category and the audience that they're giving and like, and then it's actually sending out these offers simultaneously to all of these influencers that say, hey, Fox would like you to come to the Kingsman screening and post about it, right? So now they're invited to a real world thing that they're going to become the endorsers of, but all they have to do is do the stuff that we've already determined that they would like. Like, we've already looked at this person, and the system has said they would be a great match for this film, and this would be something that they would like to talk about. And now they're going to get compensated for doing the thing that they would already want to do anyway.
Well, this sounds really, really good. So you're actually an agency. Do they join your agency, or do they have? Are there contracts being signed? I mean, what are the details of this? If you identify somebody that this corporate company would like to sponsor? How does that work?
So they sign up for our platform, and it's more of a general platform agreement. They're not exclusive to our agency, quote unquote, in that word. So it's just the technology, like being available on the technology. And then for us, it's a matter of more and more brands using our system to identify these top influencers.
Right. So typically, what are these influencers asked to do? I mean, they're just asked to either show up at a particular place or just continue mention the company and whatever it is that they're talking about. Yeah.
Or do they just continue to kind of do what they've always been doing, and you just give them opportunities? Like, I assume you're not going to find someone who's very fashionable and say, I think you have a face for sports. You might go into the sporting event and, writing about athletes. You probably have them doing what they want to do naturally, right?
It's like guided, right? So, you'll find somebody that's awesome for fashion, right? And then you're linking them up with, Gucci. And then you're saying, hey, like, we've linked you up with Gucci. Would you like to become one of Gucci's advocates, right? And this is already a fashionable person. And then one of the asks might be, hey, create your best Gucci outfit and then post this on your Instagram, right? So we've got people that are, in that particular case, a fashion person who already likes creating outfits, who's now just being asked to create a custom outfit for Gucci to show off the best style that they could do with Gucci, right? So that's like the type of scenarios that typically we'll have, but it can also be really simple. It could be something as simple as, hey, like we're Gucci and we found you, fashion person, and we've got this awesome Gucci style guide that we want you to share with your followers. Right, so now I could just be pushing out a link, or I could be pushing a video, a piece of content. So it could range from that influencer creating content to becoming the sort of amplification source for the brand's existing content.
So and maybe sometimes they're good at these people they do movie reviews or something, and then of course as you mentioned, like movie companies coming out with a movie like Kingsman, they'll want them to do a movie review, about Kingsman. I mean, that sort of makes sense. What can these people expect to make dollar-wise if in some of these agreements?
Oh man, let's just say we've created a whole new job for us, because I mean the numbers started off relatively small, a few $100s, and then you'd have a few $100 per post, and then you'd have some deals that would get up to $1,000 a post. But nowadays, there's a lot of influencers in our platform and beyond. They can make hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars every single month, from creating content, from spreading links and the like. And I mean, you think about it numerically, when somebody gets to the point of being able to reach millions of people, like 5 million people every single time they send out a post, like that's like the viewership of some TV shows, and it costs you $25,000, $50,000 for certain TV spots. So when these brands start engaging with some of these larger influencers, they are paying rates that are equivalent to what they are doing in some of their traditional TV.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get a piece of that action. You work. In other words, you get a percentage of what it is that they're making. How does Speaker make a profit from it?
Yeah. So we're, since as I said before, we're not an agency. So part of what brands do is they're actually paying us for access to that technology, right? So they have a set fee that they're paying us to deliver these influencers, and then the assumption is that part of why they're using us is that we can use our system to identify the best influencers at the right price that'll drive the highest level of engagement for the budget they've spent. So they get guaranteed impressions, and they get some level of guaranteed engagement driven from our system, and we get compensated based on how successful we are on driving against those particular goals.
Now, is the platform important here, or should you have strong followings on every platform? I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does not hurt, because there are some of our influencers who have basically just multiplied their opportunities to earn money because they're strong on a lot of different platforms. So when a brand engages with them, they could say, hey, Marco, we want you to post on your Vine and post on your Snapchat and post on your Twitter, and each one of those become different audiences or different types of mediums that they can push out, whether it's photo or video or the like. So there's additional opportunities for them to generate revenue, and our highest earners are the ones that have strength in multiple platforms, definitely.
All right, Marco, I'm going to go out to Los Angeles, California. We have a caller who has a question for you. His name is Jacob. Computer America, Craig Crossman. Hey, Jacob, what's your question?
Hey, my question was, what is one of the things in social media that people usually get misconceptions about that you wish they would know?
That I wish they would know? Probably followers. I think that one of the biggest things that people probably do that they immediately sort of mistake is that anyone with a large number of following is super influential. But the reality about these social influencers, and the thing that's so unique, is that you can have a celebrity that has tens of millions of followers. Somebody like Lady Gaga, for example, I think has 40 million followers on Twitter. And there's sort of average influencers that may have a few 100,000 followers that can actually drive the same level of engagement amongst their followers as Lady Gaga can.
Wow.
So it's really hard to tell from the surface, because you would assume, wow, that's Lady Gaga. But again, these people have followings for entirely different reasons. She's followed more voyeuristically, and an influencer is followed because of what they do online. So the engagement and the stickiness they have with their audience is way higher.
Do you,
Okay.
I mean, Jacob, do you have
Hello?
Jacob, do you have like a social influence that you're thinking about turning into some cash, maybe?
Well, I'm a beginner influencer at this point. I just wanted to get knowledge just pertaining to the field because, you know, I wanted to know what was more important, you know, having a large following or it maybe engagement. And I see that, you know, like from what he said, I see that it's more about how I engage my influencers.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
my you know, my audience opposed to just having a large following.
Right. You don't need
So
this.
that was very helpful.
Yeah. You don't need the super large following like a Lady Gaga would have. You just as you said, you know, you can have a smaller number and still have just as much influence as the big celebrities. And you obviously with something like Speaker.com, you should really you know, check it out. It might turn it into cash. You know, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. Check it out. All right, Jacob. Listen, thanks for calling. All right. All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right. 347-884-8881. Look at Johnny. There's, see, Marco, there's someone who's just getting started in the business. But, you know, I think maybe we gave him some direction. That I mean, can he could actually, Jacob could contact you or you can go to Speaker.com. What's the process? Do they go to your website or do they call you up?
Or do you seek them out once you've you mentioned that you actually collect data to some extent?
Yeah. So it's a little bit of both, right? So you know, anybody is open to applying to become a speaker. So they, you know, go through a registration process and then they go through what, you know, we call initiation, where they actually have to start posting about brands, and the system has to start seeing exactly how their audience performs when they post about those brands. But then there's also the side where, yeah, you can get specially sought out. And the people that are sought out are usually the ones that already are very influential. And, you know, our system has already gone through 1 million mom conversations, right? And it's determined here are the 1,000 moms that really matter. And at that point, our influencer team internally is doing reach outs. So they're just physically contacting these people and saying, hey, you know, here's an opportunity. You should sign up. You can actually monetize your social influence.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit. What types of brands out there use social influencers, and can we get a little more specific and then talk a little bit why they're effective?
Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, it's almost every brand under the sun. I mean, some of our bigger clients are like Microsoft, you know, obviously all the theatrical studios, so Fox and Universal and the like, you know, JCPenney, you know, Hasbro, Old Navy, you know, it really runs the gamut of just about every category you could imagine. I think
I'm looking
that,
Disney.
you know,
You have Disney, Walgreens, Corona, beer, Dr. Pepper, Colgate, Bing, T-Mobile, Speedstick, Warner Brothers. I mean, these are people that you have done campaigns with. I see PlayStation. It's quite impressive. And so even if you're like Jacob and you're sort of starting and you might have a small amount of influencers, is it good to hit the ground running? I mean, what should people like Jacob do, or what can he do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, you got to have good content. So, you know, Jacob isn't going to go too far if he doesn't have a good story. One of the things that, you know, we sometimes suggest for people is to try to just find their theme. You know, and if that theme is a particular topic, like, you know, you're just really good at food, or you're really good at, you know, talking about, I don't know, gardening, or you're really funny, or you could just take really good selfies and you could be cute like Alex from Target, right? And so it ranges a wide variety of different things that you could, you know, could hook onto. But then from there, like, the more consistent you are with that theme and that strategy, you know, you start building a following. It almost becomes like a TV show, right? Like, people tune in to your Twitter, to your Instagram, to your Vine, and they expect some type of theme or some type of personality out of you. So you do want to sort of lock into, you know, some person, right? And that doesn't mean that you need to develop a fake person, but it does mean that, you know, you do need to have a compelling, sort of consistent story that people are latching on to. And, you know, at that point, then one of the biggest things that we'll always tell people to do is, you know, create their content, get it syndicated, you know, collaborate with other influencers. So find other people that may be in your same theme that you could share content with or could develop things with, and typically that's how you'll start seeing a lot of growth organically, just by piggybacking different audiences.
Now,
from what I'm hearing, the best type of person might be Drew Carey from The Truman Show. Like, you're going for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Definitely could be.
Now, I know you gave us one example, but I want to hear some more examples. I find this really interesting, and obviously our listeners are finding it interesting too. Can you give us some other examples of some other influencers that you're working with who are actually doing this as a full-time job now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know or if you've ever seen some of the YouTube videos of the guy that impersonates Obama. Or not,
yes,
but,
I think I have. Yes, I think I have. Yes.
Yeah. So that guy, that happened. His name is Iman. He's also known as Alpha Cat, and he makes a living off of this as well. Everything from YouTube videos, Vines, Instagram posts, and the like. And he took that first sort of personality, right, which you could say in this case, that was sort of his kickoff point. That would be like his movie, right? His movie was, this is that guy that does those awesome impersonations of Obama.
Yeah, he looks a lot.
He rolled it into.
He looks
more
a lot.
than that.
He looks a lot like him too, is my recollection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
yeah. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So and he.
But
Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about this. We're at the bottom of the hour, and we have to do some commercials, and then we'll continue on, Marco. Okay. All right, so
okay.
All right, stay with us. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network. Ben and I are talking to the CEO of Speaker.com. We're going to continue on with him. We also have a News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up on Computer America. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
So, you feeling erudite? This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin book review for Computer America. This time, Wiley's 12th edition of Mechanical and Electrical Equipment for Buildings by Kwok and Gronzig. The new 12th edition is a breezy 1,800 and some pages of the practical, physical, scientific, and engineering underpinnings of everything about building and buildings, from the impact on local soil to, well, everything. Well, new. Most of its coverage of more recent technologies like LED lighting, higher efficiency heating and cooling products, and home control systems is quite dated. But its considerable coverage of the basics more than makes up for that. Comfort, heating, cooling, lighting, acoustics, power, water, sewage, the effects of sun and weather, power equipment, wiring, and other aspects involved in designing homes or office buildings all come into play. It has the levels of detail that architects, builders, designers, and yes, specifically and especially geeks will love. Bottom line, the answer to why things get built the way they do and what happens when you change those ways get explained in a zillion ways in Wiley's 12th edition Mechanical and Electrical Equipment for Buildings. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes past the hour. We are talking to Marco Hansell here. He is the CEO of Speaker.com, and actually, kind of an interesting point. When the caller first connected that we just had on a couple minutes ago, he actually had a different question than the one he asked, but I actually liked the first one he asked, so I'm going to ask it here. I didn't realize this because I'll be honest with you, you sound very much older than you are. He asked the question. I had to look it up. You're a pretty young guy. So and the caller wanted to know. And by the way, you sound older in the nicest way possible. No dig. But what's it like being a young CEO?
Well, you might beat me up for this because I feel like I'm older now that I'm 30. So I guess I'm still a young CEO. I mean, it's only fitting for our medium because it's such a young medium that I'm already a little bit aged compared to the people that are really adopting Snapchat and like all these other platforms. You think about even Evan Spiegel, that's the CEO of Snapchat, is still younger than me. So we're having a nice little flux of new technology and sort of accelerated adoption that I think makes that all work out properly. We're probably gonna have younger and younger CEOs. So I like it. It's fun.
Sounds like you're having fun.
I have direction early in my life, so
yeah, sounds
cool.
Sounds like you're having fun. That's the most important thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I guess you kind of said it for your medium. It wouldn't really make sense for someone who's 50, 60 years old to be running a company about something that they didn't grow up with, that they haven't really been using.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which begs the question. Really begs the question: how did this all get started? Was this an idea that you came up with? That you, a bunch of friends came up with? I mean, how did the speaker actually come about?
Yeah. This actually got sparked from my first business. So before I was running this business, I was running a digital strategy agency for a bunch of artists and entertainers. And we had clients like John Legend before he was famous, and he was just a guy that was friends with one of my friends in college. And we started doing digital strategy, website development, things like that. Once he became a major artist, then we started picking up tons of different artist acts. So while we were in college, we were doing I think about 24 or so major acts that we were running digital for. And then one of the things that we ended up building was we built this digital street team platform. And basically what it would do is that it would take all of an artist's fans, and you could essentially, as a fan, post about the artist on MySpace. These are the MySpace days. And add them to Facebook and the like, and you get points. And once you accumulated enough points, then you could get signed merchandise from the artist. So in that process, we saw that the artist fans actually had more power than the artists themselves. I'm like, well, wait a second, they're doing this because they love that artist, but that artist is just a brand. They also love tons of other brands. They love Universal Studios Transformers. They love Gucci. They love H&M. So we could create a system that would expand this beyond the artist world and essentially allow people to get measured on how influential they'd be over the number of different things that they love, we'd have the largest word of mouth platform in the world. So yeah, we tested that theory, and I haven't been doing a lot of artist stuff since then because the brand stuff is a lot more lucrative.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So again, the process is that it sounds to me like though that Speaker.com is actively seeking out more so, than the standard agent. You're actually approaching more of these people first, maybe possibly because these people don't know that something like Speaker.com even exists.
Yeah. I mean, it's a combination of both. Like, some people don't even know that they could make money off of social media. It's still a new concept. Like, even the people that have developed a large following may have never thought like, oh, I could do something with this. I didn't know that. And and when you imagine, like, when we were first starting, there was a lot of disbelief. Like, we'd tell people you can make money from tweets, and they're like, what? What do you mean? I'm going to tweet and you're going to pay me money? No way. So there was a bit of a learning curve.
They thought you were a scammer, maybe. Like the people who they get contacted by people and say, hey, I'm a prince in Nigeria and I need some money. Except you were offering them money and you weren't asking them for money. And
which was actually pretty funny, because we actually did get that. We'd get this is a scam, and we're like, but we're giving you money. That was a funny time. That was like our first year of business. It wasn't something that was mainstream at all, so it was a little confusing.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. If you have a funny story to tell, I'd certainly like to have that. I mean, when you have one of your clients, maybe that when you first approached them, they you had to go back maybe 2 or 3 times to finally convince them to come on with you because you were legitimate.
Well, from the client side, it wasn't.
No, I mean the social influencer. That you.
Oh yeah. We've had some. I'm trying to think if there's any examples that stand out for me. Oh man. I mean I can't. It's been so long. I can't think of a specific one, but I know there have been times where we've approached different influencers and they go down that process of saying something's a scam and like, I don't believe it. And, one of the biggest validation points for us, it really comes from other influencers. Mm-hmm. So part of the other sort of thing that helps us is the same way that we market other companies is our own word of mouth. So, as influencers within a community start using us, then they do start talking. And there is sort of a natural growth when people start seeing their friends' lives change because of social media, and they're like, "How are you doing this?" And like, "Oh, it's this company Speaker." So yeah.
Now, are you the only one doing this at this point? I mean, when you go to when you're an actor, you look for an agent. There are lots of tens of thousands of agents out there, agencies, big ones.
Or is there some guy with like slick back hair and he's like meeting these people, like these YouTube stars in back alleys? He's like, "I can make you a star, man. I can make you a star," or something like that.
So are you the only one? Yeah, exactly. Are you the only one doing this, or are there others as well?
Oh no, there's other ones. I mean, when we first started, there were literally like 2 other companies doing this. But in the time period of the last 4 years, there have been dozens of companies that now are social media talent agencies. There's social media technology companies that are trying to do similar things to us. So there's a lot of different routes. Needless to say, I'm not only biased, but I'm sure you see from our brand list that we're a pretty massive player in this space.
Well, no, what I want to give you is the opportunity is to tell our listeners why people should check, to come to Speaker.com as opposed to some of the other people that may be out there. What is it you have to offer? Why should they come to you?
Yeah. I mean, one is a bulk of the top tier brands. I mean, last year we were doing 40% of the top deals within the social influence space. So, I mean, more than half, almost half of the opportunities that are out there from brands do funnel through our company. Mm-hmm. So just from a deal flow perspective, that's one thing. And the other thing is that it's all about authentic voice. Like, what one rule that we have this, your voice, your choice, type of rule that it says that, you don't have to do anything with any brand that you don't want to. And you talk about that brand in the language that you want to talk about it. And if the brand doesn't want to do that, then they just won't do campaigns with us. So I think we've had a real strong thing on maintaining the authenticity of the influencer's engagement, because we believe that you have to protect that. Like the moment that these guys could just be bought to just say anything about a company is the moment that they lose the trust within their following.
Very, very important.
All right. That makes complete sense. You don't want to just throw enough money at the person and they'll be a shill for you, because at that point you lose your following and you're not really doing much good for anyone anyways. I actually had kind of a question in my head, which was you have multiple categories that people kind of fit into on your website. You have like fitness, mother, games, that kind of thing. Do you have a threshold for kind of the numbers you're looking for each category in particular, or is it just what your clients look like? What would you say is a good threshold for maybe one that's not a good threshold for another category?
Yeah, no, it actually ranges. I mean, it ranges based on what the client is looking for, but it also is really built around the engagement rate, right? So there could be somebody with, just to give you an example, someone with 1 million followers, right? And say out of those 1 million followers, if they posted something about a movie trailer, they get 100 people to pay attention to it. That's a really tiny engagement rate against those 1 million followers. But if there was somebody else who had 10,000 followers and they got 100 people to engage with this movie trailer, that might be really impressive. And they might actually be somebody that's ranked pretty high in our network because they have a really active, engaging following. So there's not really a floor. The reality is that below really like 10,000 and sometimes below 25,000 followers, you usually don't have a substantial amount of engagement to be attractive to a lot of our advertisers. But there are some exceptions to that.
Yeah, especially if they're in a very vertical area.
Oh yeah.
If they're doing something that's really kind of unique and
yep.
I guess maybe in certain.
No, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because actually to expand on your question, like if you were looking at something like entertainment, as I'm sure you would imagine, like when we're getting requests from our entertainment brands, they're usually looking for the biggest, like most giant impact people possible in the most generic vertical. I need somebody that can push my comedy movie, right? So that's going to be, the laundry list of our users with millions of followers that can reach people and can get people to pay attention to this comedy film. But then, some of our brands have really very specific specs, right? Like we have, some brands like HP, for example, like where HP has a printer community that they want to reach. So they want to reach moms and moms that are printing out things for arts and crafts. Right? So at that point, right, now we're talking about people where the audience that might be a really impressive audience might be a mom with 50,000 followers, right? So it does start changing up quite a bit.
Yeah, I would think so. As the more vertical you get, the more the smaller the numbers, but the quality of those numbers is extremely high. So those things you got it. You have to, exactly. Now, answer this question: how do you? Let's say I'm listening to the show and I'm getting intrigued, and we know this. And I have an area of expertise or something, and I'm sort of getting out there. How do you build up your social following so you're considered influential by a brand? I mean, what are some things that you might recommend how to become more of a social influence?
Yeah. Again, I think it's like the collaboration with other influencers is probably your easiest route. So say, for example, if you're a aspiring comedy influencer, find the other comedy influencers that are bigger than you, and see if they'll create content with you. And a lot of times, like what ends up happening is that these communities are very much like traditional artist community. There's like mutual respect within some of the crafts. So you could find somebody that's like, hey, I like the comedy vine that you create. Like we should collaborate and make content together. And because they have a much larger following, they could become your introduction. So you can almost become like an opening act. If you're thinking like you found Beyonce and you're the opening act for Beyonce as an aspiring artist. Well, now you're going to have more followers because you piggybacked on Beyonce's following, right? That's probably one of the key ways that a lot of these influencers have grown their following by collaborating with other people that are big, And then the other way too is, again, is like just creating really, really unique content. If you have a unique spin on something, then you could take off. I mean, one thing that's actually not really known commonly is that a lot of influencers aren't just acting as themselves. Like some influencers choose a category or choose, a strong niche that they post about that might be something that people care about, right? Like there's influencers in extremes. Like there's this one influencer, their name is Snape. So Snape is the Harry Potter character, right? So like they created a parody of the Harry Potter character's account, and they basically said that they're going to tweet as if they were Snape, right? Now this account, it sounds pretty crazy, and you're like, oh, who paid attention to that? It has like 5 million followers on Twitter, right? And every single time it posts, it gets tens of thousands of people to engage with their posts. So this was a very, very simple niche. It was a very specific niche and a very specific voice that they actually were the first ones to take that approach to creating content. And in their case, they just took off and sort of went viral because people were so interested in that, sort of voice or that point of view of what would life be like if you were Snape.
Yeah.
And you can actually turn that where people will I don't say, like, you can actually turn that to where people will listen to an endorsement by, even though it's a fake persona, and I'm assuming there's not actually someone saying, oh, that's really Robin Williams. Like, there's not really a person behind it. It's just the character of Snape, and you can get people to endorse that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, we've had, like, I'll give you a perfect example. There was a SpongeBob parody that ended up doing a 7-Up campaign with us. And what they did is they literally took, like, an image of SpongeBob and, like, photoshopped a 7-Up in their hands and pushed that out. And it's all in parody. The interesting thing is that the parodies can do things that the companies can't do themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're associating these brands in a playful way, right? And being able to define things like that, whether it's content creation or if it's like something like a movie where you're like, well, which character would Snape be if he was starring in this movie? And let's have him comment on that. And it seems like something that's like, oh, why would that be related to the film? But then you figure out the type of audience and the way that you're creating that same association. And now all these people that are following Snape, which keep in mind, the one thing that some people forget oftentimes is they're not just following Snape, they're following tons of other accounts. These are not just like Hogwarts heads that are only going to watch a Harry Potter movie. They're looking at something that they already love, Harry Potter in this case, right? And they're hearing about a new film in the voice of their favorite character. Like, oh, that's a cool approach. So it becomes this like different way of marketing that could both be from a person that you care about and listen to, or a different character voice that you care about as well.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say that you're really vertical. Let's say, oh, I don't know. Let's say you want to you're doing a thing on auto repair, but only cars that have carburetors, or something like that. Something very vertical, something. But you're doing it in a great way. I mean, then you really wouldn't piggyback on something else because you're the only one that's doing it. But if you're getting people who are really interested and your numbers are growing, I mean, when
audience engagement is audience engagement, even if it's just an audience who's very interested in how to fix a pool pump. It's
exactly.
You got it.
At what point do you say, okay, I'm going to see if I can capitalize on this? I mean, how many listeners do? I mean, if it's really vertical and you have, let's say, 1,000 people following. I mean, at what point do you say, okay, I want to go to Speaker.com and see if I can get I can start turning this into money?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Like the example I gave with the Snape scenario, that's like obviously sort of entertainment, right? So it's a general market thing that at the end of the day, the general market audience is just from a numeric standpoint less valuable than the mom audience or than the guy who's fixing cars that only have this type of converter in it, right? So like as you start getting down to tighter and tighter niches, the types of numbers that you need to actually be valuable become a lot smaller. I think that just in general, once you get to a few thousand followers, there are opportunities. They may be small opportunities, but then the moment that you start getting into the tens of thousands of followers, if you have really quality content and a really good engagement, you could find yourself landing opportunities that are a few $100s, or if you're really, really good at what you do and there's a very sort of content creation side to it, you could be making thousands of dollars for stuff. Because one of the other things to keep in mind is that these brands start looking at these influencers as the people that can extend their branded story. So you might have 10,000 followers. You might be an awesome wildlife photographer, and Canon Cameras comes to you and says, hey, wildlife guy, like, we want you to use our Canon camera and show off what awesome photography you can create with Canon. We're going to pay you $1,000 for every photo you create. But you know what we also want? We want rights to all of those photos, because now what I'm doing is, instead of me going to an ad agency and creating the ad copy or creating the photography that is going to be perfect, I'm actually getting user-generated advertisement. So they're starting to take this content, and even beyond just your audience, they're using these people as content creators as well.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an eye-opener. It really is. I mean, this has been very interesting. I know I had not actually heard of it. I know I heard a little bit of it, but Ben had heard a lot more about it. But people are actually able to capitalize their areas of expertise. And as you said, many of them probably still don't know that they can do that. They're a social influencer, and they're having a lot of fun doing it, and they're enjoying it, and they don't realize that, hey, they may quit their day job.
I think the idea has gotten out there where people know that they can make money, or they can make a living off of it if they have an audience of some sort. They become, they know they can make money off it. I think what the problem is now is, how does a person start to make money from doing this? Because if you're a lone person going up against let's say you're a gamer. I'm sorry, that's why I keep bringing it up, because what I am. You're a gamer, and you approach Intel. And you say, hey, Intel, I have 100,000 people, and I feel like you should sponsor me. Like, that's one person going up against a multinational corporation. It's hard to start getting contracts and things like that. So having a middleman, I think that's where people kind of say, okay, what am I doing now? And I guess that's where Speaker comes in.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's you hit it right on the head. Is like, a lot of these guys, they're not Shaquille O'Neal's. So, like, Nike's going to take Shaq's call. But for these big brands, they're looking to us to cobble together 100 of these guys all at once. So it's more advantageous, whether it's us or another social influence agency or the like, to be grouped up and to get together with the people that these deal flows are coming to, because these brands have basically said, all right, well, I know the few companies that I can go to when I need to reach a social influencer. But then once you do get big enough, like, one thing I do say is, I suggest, like, keep your contact information in your bio, because there are certain people that, after they hit a certain threshold, then they can get approached directly for opportunities. And the brands are out there looking at these things. They're looking at people in different niches that might be interesting, but it is a sort of thing that you have to approach a certain level before you show up on their radar. Like, they don't have the same tools that we do, where we're trying to find that guy that has 10,000 followers but a really awesome engagement. They obviously sort of start at some of the more top tier numbers of, like, the people with the largest following in this area, or who's the guy that has the highest engagement. So they are looking for more higher impact people.
All right. Well, if you want more information, obviously you can go to the Speaker.com website. SPEAKR. There's no E before the R. SPEAKR.com. Or you can just go to our website. Go to ComputerAmerica.com. Click on our show notes button right there on the homepage, and you'll see today's show, which is February the 12th. And you'll see the Speaker. We have a link to the website right there. And of course, we're speaking to Marco Hansell, the CEO of Speaker.com, and you can check all this out for yourself. So if this is something that might have piqued your interest, make some extra cash on the side, or who knows, maybe enough to quit your day job. That's all these opportunities are out there. If you have an area of expertise, or if this is something that you think you would like to become a social influencer, and you think you can do it, give it a shot. Why not? Do it. Give it a try.
And also, thank you for introducing a new word into my vocabulary, which is, an influencer. I had not known that was what they call themselves. So thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Hey, Marco, listen, I want to thank you so much for being with us here tonight on the show. It was a lot of fun, and best of luck to you and all of the people that you deal with. You're on the right track, and it's very successful for you. So best of luck to you. Okay.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the time.
All right, Marco. Take care. Have a good evening. Good night. Bye bye.
All right. You too. Bye bye.
All right. There you go. So again, speaker. If I have
it's nice to have a middleman, because when you're just an average person and you come into a large audience, sometimes you're lost. You don't know what to do. But hey, it's companies like that kind of connect companies that have money and want to do things, and people who do not have money who want to earn money. So it seems like a company like Speaker is really one of those see a need, fill a need kind of businesses.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour here, and we have waiting in the wings as our next hour guest from Sticky Password, and this is interesting because the idea here is you have all these different passwords for all these different websites, and and a lot of people use the same password for everything. That's not a good idea. They have a password manager that is free, going to allow them to literally, manage all your passwords automatically. Sticky Password is going to be up next. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio.
Why do I need to know that? I use the same 2 passwords for all websites. Why?
You're listening to us on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, and on the Boost Radio Network. We're going to be right back with Sticky Password. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello, and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman. No, you're muted.
Really?
Yes,
Hi, this is Ben. First time doing radio. How you doing?
You would think.
Where are we?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we just had Marco Hansell on the
program with us.
Yes,
he was from Speaker.
Yes, exactly. And we were talking about social influencers. You learned a new word. Okay.
Yeah. Well, did you know that that influencers was a word?
No, I did not. Well, yeah. I guess actually you could be an influencer. Yeah, absolutely. And you can be a social influencer.
I get that you can influence people. I just didn't know influencer. I knew you can enforce things, and you could be an enforcer. I just didn't know that influencer was a word.
Yeah, it's a word. You can be an influencer. Yeah, don't use it. It doesn't come up very often, but yes, it is a word. Yes, it is. So anyway, you can always Google it, look it up in the dictionary if you want to. But it is, and of course now you can be a social influencer. So we're going to move into our second hour guest now. I'm not sure if we have things set up with him properly, but we're going to give it a try, and let's kind of introduce him. The company is called Sticky Password, and this is a robust and reliable password management option that adds one or more layer of protection for their clients. Sticky Password is currently used by over 2 million people, and each of them have their very own passwords, and companies worldwide. Now, in addition to their many satisfied customers, antivirus vendors like Kaspersky Labs and VIPRE selected Sticky Password to be integrated into their own security solutions. Wow. They're quoted as saying that everybody has a passion, and Sticky Passwords is to make you feel protected while surfing and shopping on the internet. Now, joining us in this hour is Peter Lippa. Peter is the regional director for Sticky Password. Peter, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Oh boy. Well, we're doing fine. It's a little hard to hear you. Are you have a headset microphone, or are you using the?
I do. We went. Let's see. Let me see if I can do some adjustments here. Is it getting any better?
No.
Doing live radio, and yes, we're gonna have to troubleshoot here real quick. In the Google Hangouts, you're going to actually, Craig, here. I'm gonna do a story, and then if you want to give him a call and walk him through how to change his microphone in the Google Hangout settings.
Okay, I'm gonna. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna put you back. I'm gonna put you back on mute, and you go ahead.
And yeah, there, and as you know, whenever we have, I don't want to say time to kill, but whenever we have a spare moment in the show, we like to fill it with some of the more interesting tech stories of the day. These may pertain to some kind of politics. These may, or politics with technology you may not have heard of, new technology, things like that. And while Craig is helping him troubleshoot, sorry for doing that again on the air, our bad. There's actually a story here that I wanted to cover at any rate. And that story is this crazy one where smart TVs, they're TVs that are connected to the internet, and they usually have some kind of microphone capability and recording capability that lets you control them with voice controls. Think Siri or anything of the sort, or maybe even Connect. Well, turns out that smart TV eavesdropping fear prompts Senator to quiz Samsung and LG on privacy. This is from TechHive.com, and it's an odd story, and it's an odd story because it's not. I personally don't see what all the hubbub is about, because U.S. Senator Al Franken is probing into the privacy policies of LG and Samsung Electronics for the voice recognition technology used in their smart TVs. The move follows reports that Samsung TVs collect data from voice communications and even share them with a third party. And here's why it's a little bit of a gray area for myself, is that, hey, they said that whenever you hit a button and you use some kind of voice command, so you could say hit a button and that starts listening, and you say turn on Netflix, or find me a video about puppies and kittens, or something along those lines. It will go and it will do those tasks that you have specified, and it will be listening and recording, and then apparently those recordings are saved and sent to the network. So, and then they're actually tracking the data of what people are searching for using their voice commands. This is not unlike saving search terms for Google or Yahoo or any other kind of search engine. It's just they're using it with your particular voice. And there was a report that came out. It was very much a clickbait article where it had a sensationalist headline, and the headline read, Samsung and LG are actually recording your sensitive information when you're sitting at home. So it led you to believe that televisions were actually listening all the time, 100%, for anything you were saying, and then as soon as you said something, it was recording it, saving it, and then they were selling that information to third parties. Like, you all of a sudden you have an active 100% microphone sitting in your living room now. And frankly, that wasn't true. What they meant to say was that when you hit that button that lets it start listening for the voice commands, anything that is recorded during those times is anything recorded when you hit the button and you start using search. So if someone in the background said, I love pizza, while you were trying to look for Netflix, the recording of someone saying "I love pizza" is going to be sent and analyzed along with your search for Netflix. And that was misconstrued, and I guess it got so misconstrued to the point where now there is a senator asking for there's a senator asking for an investigation on Samsung and LG, two of the biggest smart TV manufacturers, to see what is actually going on. It's crazy that such a headline was able to blow it out of proportion, and I guess they're gonna take it all the way to the Senate, but I'm sitting here thinking, why do that? It's just a sensationalized headline. But either way, I thought that would bring that to your attention. You're undoubtedly going to be seeing it everywhere, not just here on Computer America, but on news in general. So, we had a minute, and it was a great story. So, but I hear we actually have our intended guest back, though.
Yes, Peter Lippa. I think he is the regional director for Sticky Password. Sorry for the technical problems. Hey, Peter, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? I hope the sound is better on this one.
Yes, it sounds a lot better.
You sound better, sir. You sound better. Perfect.
So I assume you heard my introduction, kind of explaining to a little bit what Sticky Password is. But why don't you tell us about Sticky Password and how long have you been developing secure password products?
Sticky Password was formed in 2001. So it's been around a long time as far as the password industry is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
We're a European-based company, and we started, or our founder started, by developing what was a niche password manager for techie types. And we for the first 10 years or so, we worked on that. And 6 years ago is when we started working with some of those large companies that you mentioned a little while ago, like Kaspersky and VIPRE. We also have a couple of we work with IronKey, who's the maker of a super secure encrypted flash drive, and we also have another a biometrics company called iLock. They're based in New York, and they have a very exciting iris scanner called Iris that we provide the password management tool for. And of course, we're also working on a consumer product, and so I'm happy to announce today on this show that we received the Editor's Choice rating from PC Mag recently. We're very excited about that for our consumer product.
Congratulations, sir. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is congratulations. So, is it typical of people do passwords so that they use the same password over and over again because they think it's something really good and they use it for all the sites that they use? They figure, okay, I'll have a different password for every place that I use, and they realize that it's impossible to remember them all, and so they wind up using their same password over.
The same password, or they use like password 1 through 8 for 8 different websites, and they think they're being secure, but that's not really secure, is it?
It's not secure at all. But Ben, you mentioned a little while ago that you had 2 passwords, right? It really is a problem where if you're using the same password over and over again, that's an issue because it can be, if it's discovered on one site, if it's hacked on one site, your other sites are vulnerable now. And if it's someone who's going to try to be hurting you, they'll be searching for those. And if they're able to hack it, then they're probably going to be able to find your other sites and either steal money from you, find out information about you, change data about you, and do all sorts of things that you'd rather not have done.
So the recommendation is to use a strong password, but what is a strong password?
Well, in general, a strong password is something that can't be guessed or easily gotten at by anyone who might use it. So for your friends and other people, you shouldn't use names of pets or children or any personal information about you that someone may find out and try to use as a password for access to one of your sites. Now, more specifically, when you're looking at a strong password, size does matter. So the longer the password, the better. And you want it to be unpredictable and unexpected, and that's why whenever you go on a new site to create a new password, you get recommendations to use and mix upper and lowercase characters, special characters, digits, all sorts of things that are going to not make it a dictionary word. So it's not something that someone would sit down and say, oh, Snoopy, but you'll have all sorts of things that are going to make that a long password that really can't be guessed as a word.
Well, why can't people just put Snoopy and then put an asterisk or a couple of numbers, Snoopy 12 or something like that? So a brute force won't be able to break that. I mean, it's the name of it. Why not do something like that?
Well, actually, a brute force would, and then really all it would take is a dictionary attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer to that question is more when people think about who's attacking their passwords. A lot of people picture some guy in a gray sweatshirt with a hoodie just sitting and entering passwords over and over and over again on their site.
You mean it isn't?
And it's not generally. What you're going to find is maybe the guy is sitting there, maybe he has a gray sweatshirt, but he's got an incredibly strong and fast computer. And he's not typing anything in except maybe some instructions at the beginning. Then he sits back and his computer is trying millions of password combinations that he knows already exist, that he knows that millions of people around the world are already using. So if you happen to be the one, you happen to be one of the thousands of people who use, I remember when Hotmail broke in the UK a few years ago, Princess, and all sorts of combinations of the password Princess came out of that Hotmail dump. And if I'm sure that all the hackers put Princess, hundreds of combinations of Princess, and that's a great way to get hacked by using something and then just slapping a number on it.
So then, what does the average person have to worry about if they can just write their password on a piece of paper, or let their browsers store their passwords for that matter?
Well, a password manager is a lot more than just a file with your passwords.
Okay.
If I had to really summarize it, first off, the password manager creates those strong passwords for you, and that's important because if you think about the last time you visit a site where you needed to create a password,
mm-hmm.
you didn't go to that site to create a password. You went to that site to do something else, anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it prompted you to create a password, that's interrupting what you're doing. So all of a sudden you're in a new thought process, and you're either going to put in your default password, that favorite Snoopy123, or if you do buckle down and try to come up with a complicated password that has 12 digits and all that, how long are you going to remember that password? You're not. Or not for long, and not unless you write it down. And if you do write it down, then it's on a piece of paper that you may lose, or even if you have it at your computer, it's not always going to be with you. So Password Manager helps you with that. Password Manager gives you unique passwords for all your sites. Because it can do it so quickly and remember them for you, you don't have to remember them. It's also secure storage. It's encrypted storage. It does the autofill for you. So next time you go to that website, you don't have to copy and paste. You don't have to, type in those digits. It's doing the autofill. And what's becoming more and more important these days is that it synchronizes all your passwords across your devices. So if you're using a Windows PC at home or a Mac and you've got an Android device, bingo, your password manager, where you hope you use Sticky Password, but your password manager can sync those across your device.
I would guess the one person who would be sensitive to this would be Craig, because he recently lost all of his passwords. Tragedy that, and he was like, well, I don't know my passwords for this because, or I didn't know what my password was or what it used to be because I just had it saved in my browser. I think a lot of people, even the great and powerful Craig Crossman, they have it set up in their browser and they let the browser save it, but if the cookies get cleared for any reason or their computer crashes or anything like that, you then have to jump through all the hoops to recover your 20 or so passwords. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing using a password service, it kind of saves them in one folder so you can always look at them, but it's obviously more secure, but it's not just relying on the fact that your cookies always stay intact.
Exactly, that's a very good point. With the browsers, all sorts of things can happen with the browser. Not only are your passwords visible for the most part or accessible if anyone else sits at your computer, but your computer can crash. With the password manager, you get an encrypted file that you can choose to store securely in our online cloud service, or you can actually save that on a different device if you like, or if you do have access to your passwords on different devices, you don't even have to do that copy manually because it's going to be there. If your PC crashes, next time you get a PC or your new PC, all you need to do is to sync with your Android device or your iOS device. So yes, it's things like that that a password manager allows you to benefit from, or gives you the benefit.
Right. So what general precautions should a person take to be safe online? You know, what can they do if they find out, you know, if their password protected account has been hacked?
Well, I mean, so precautions first. We work with an organization. We do all sorts of Twitter chats and things like that with an organization based in D.C. called Stay Safe Online.
Mm-hmm.
And their motto is stop, think, connect. And I think that's perfect because most people don't. Most people are used to a plug-and-play atmosphere where you just come in and you want to do whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to think about it. You don't want to think that anyone's hurting there. You're sitting in front of your PC. You feel sort of anonymous until you forget about some basic precautions that you may take in the physical world, but because it's an online world, you sort of pass over them. But basic precautions for a computer user or, you know, any sort of device user would be really simple things. Use an antivirus, use an anti-malware and a firewall.
Mm-hmm.
A huge thing is to install software updates. Also use a password manager. And as we say, always pay attention to what you click on. If you know, the phishing attacks are becoming, I think, rampant. Now is tax season, and I've already received a slew of emails that are offering me all sorts of suspicious and dubious claims to help me with my taxes. So just by stopping and looking at it and thinking, hey, is this something real or is there something suspicious? And then not clicking on it, I think, goes a long way to helping even with passwords.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what about there's a lot of these biometric authentication solutions in the news recently. You know, does this mean that passwords are going to disappear soon and be replaced by fingerprints or, you know, retina scans or whatever?
I don't believe so. You know, with the biometrics, it's sort of there's so much news about biometrics and about how hard it is to remember passwords and how just the authentication environment is, you know, needs to be fixed. That it's very negative, and then you get these experts who come and say that biometrics are going to replace passwords, and I think that's misleading because when you really think about it, the entire infrastructure, or so much of the infrastructure of not only the internet, but all of computing as it is today, really is based on passwords. And so to replace that overnight is impossible. And even with the best designed new system, it would take time and money. And with that in mind, people need to understand that passwords are going to be here for quite a while. And if they are going to be here, it really makes sense to try to get a secure and not a haphazard approach to passwords. And that's what a password manager does. If you do have a password manager, it's not haphazard. You can have strong, secure passwords, and it's easy to do.
Okay. Well,
so I think with biometrics, they're going to supplement rather than replace passwords.
Although, you know what I do like is that I have an iPhone, and it's the only biometric authentication I use. But the Touch ID, I really do like it. You know, I hit it, done it. It's got my authentic, and it works really nicely. You know,
but I think Apple does it right, where even if you restart your iPhone, even your iPhone tells you, hey, you can't use biometrics the first time. You have to still use your actual password.
Yes, that's true. Right. That's very true. Okay.
Right. And we actually support biometrics also. We do support the fingerprint scanner on both Android and iOS devices that have fingerprint readers.
Well, tell us, how is Sticky Password different from other password managers on the market? Because let's face it, there are a lot of them out there. So what makes yours unique?
All sorts of things. I think when you're looking at any sort of security device, at some level it's going to be a level of comfort and getting used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really should be searching for the product that works well for you. We're going to look at some specifics. We've just introduced a new version at the end of 2014, so it's been out since December. We have more synchronization options than just about most or just about all other vendors out there, in that for all of your devices, and we do support multi-platforms, Windows and iOS and Mac and Android, but you're able to synchronize, and you choose how you'd like to synchronize. If you'd like to synchronize over our cloud, which is a secure solution, and you're syncing your encrypted password database, or we've added being able to synchronize over your Wi-Fi. So if you're, let's say, paranoid and you don't want to use the cloud, you don't trust the cloud, but you do have a Wi-Fi at home, you have several devices, you don't want to copy your encrypted database and move it from device to device, you can do that on your Wi-Fi. You can also do it manually. And then, of course, for the people who have only one device or prefer to avoid the cloud altogether, then you can turn syncing off entirely. We also have more licensing options. We think we have a 1-year license, a 3-year license, and again, we have something that other vendors don't have, and that is the option for a lifetime license.
Really? A lifetime of password?
We do. So,
okay. All right.
Yeah, so you could either have and as you mentioned at the top of the show, and that was that we also have a free version. So you can give it a try everything out, and then make any choice you want, but you can continue with the free version.
Well,
and
yes? What does the free version give you, and then what levels of that you add on after this? Give us what do you get with the free version, and then what's the next? What are the different levels that you have?
It's very simple. We have 2 versions. One's the free version, one's the premium version.
Okay.
And the premium version supports synchronization.
Okay. And when you say synchronization,
so if you do have multiple, excuse me?
So when you say synchronization, you're talking to not only my computer but my mobile phone and tablet and that type of thing?
Exactly. So if you have multiple devices and you want to synchronize, then that's what you need the premium version for. We feel so strongly that passwords really are the basis of strong security at this time, that we want everyone out there to have it, and so our free version does everything. We can do the fingerprint scanning on the free version, unlimited accounts on our free version.
Really?
It's all out there for you, but once you go into multiple devices, that starts to use our cloud resources and all sorts of other things.
Sure.
So we've made that into the premium version.
Completely reasonable, obviously. So how much is the premium version if you want to go to the sticky password?
If you're looking at the 1-year license, it's $19.99.
Uh-huh.
And if you're looking at the lifetime license, it's a very reasonable $49.99.
You're kidding. That's all?
That's not much.
No, that's nothing. That's amazing.
Yep.
Wow, I'm impressed. I thought it was going to be a few $100s for a lifetime subscription to the premium version of Sticky Password. It's $49.
That's it.
What's the catch?
It's ever.
There is no catch. In fact, we've as I said, we introduced a new version in December, and we sent out notices to all of our installed base, everyone who had a sticky password, not for for the various vendors that we also work with, but for sticky password product out there, we sent out notices that everyone got a free upgrade to a lifetime license of sticky password. All of our installed base. Wow.
That truly is amazing. That's a heck of a deal. Now, I guess if people want more information, they certainly can go to the website. They can go to your website, which is stickypassword.com. You can also go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. Just click on our show notes button, and you'll see again today's show, the 12th of February, and hour 2. You'll see that we're talking to Peter Lippa, the regional director for Sticky Password. We have a link to the Sticky Password website. And now, what platforms does it work at? Does it work for Windows only? Does it work for Mac? And what platforms do you support?
It's Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android also.
Really? Okay, so you support all the major You support all the major platforms. So from Windows, what? From Windows 7, or from what versions of Windows on do you support?
That's actually yes. I would say yes.
Windows 7.
I have to think about it because we've been supporting even with our older versions, we supported all sorts of versions before that.
Yeah. And
I can check that as we speak.
Yeah. And then Mac OS 10, you're probably starting with 10.7, 10.8, something around there, and you support it?
Yes, Mac was just introduced, so yes, that's going to be the latest version.
Well, the latest version of Mac is Yosemite, so which is the latest version. Do you go back a little bit to Lion or Mountain Lion, or is it strictly from Yosemite, or is it from Yosemite on, which is 10. Well, you can find it on the password. You can go to Sticky Password's website and you'll see all the details there. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's really simple. Now, do you need a password to get on Sticky Password?
You do not on the website itself, but then of course we do have some features that you can take advantage of, and that would be password access. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, Peter, I want to thank you for being here on the show with us. It's you obviously have a really good deal going here, and I encourage everybody to go to the stickypassword.com. Check it out for yourself. The free version is free, and the premium version, for $49 you get a lifetime subscription to it, and all the advantages that go along with that. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, Peter.
Thanks very much for having me, and have a great night. Thank you.
And you too. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye. All right, so there you go. Sticky Password. I thought it was going to be a lot more than that for a lifetime subscription.
We often get these products on. They're like, oh yeah, they do this, and this. You're like, oh, that's a product that I could see using occasionally. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, it's about $300. And it's like, okay then. But no, this is one of those ones where you're like, for $50 for a lifetime, and
yeah,
and passwords aren't, passwords are an everyday occurrence. So very reasonable for something that actually does a useful job.
Exactly. All right. Well, listen. I'll tell you what. We're at the bottom of the hour here, and we're going to come back with some computer and technology news in the last hour. Brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Dell Chromebook 11 boasts schoolyard durability. Wow. And let's see what else we got. NVIDIA is inviting the press. They're teasing a new gaming product launch. And so these stories and more coming up. We've got a news test bulletin review from Marty Winston also. We'll be right back with more Computer America. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Who said that? It's Marty Winston with another News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Thumbs Up touch speaker boombox. It's mostly cylindrical, about the size of a can of kidney beans, with flat sections at the top and bottom. Inside, a USB rechargeable battery powers it. Thumbs Up calls it the touch speaker boombox. When you place your handset on the top, with the handset speaker near the rear of the flat area, something couples the signal driving the speaker in your handset into the amplifier in the boombox, and the boombox 3-inch speaker up front drives a bigger sound into the room. It's a cool trick, but the thing that makes it worth doing is that the sound that comes out of it is quite good. It will take you a few tries to figure out the sweet spot for your handset. Also, the handset volume control is the only one in play here. And if you turn it up too much, what you hear will sound distorted. It's just about always happens when you turn things up too much. Bottom line, the Thumbs Up touch speaker boombox is a cool way to get a big sweet sound out of a handset with no pairing or cables required. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show, 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Winston with a News Tip Bulletin Review. We just got off with Sticky Password. Great product, great price.
Yeah.
And first hour we had Speaker, which was actually very entertaining.
Yes.
And yeah, in this last half hour on this Thursday, we actually have time. We normally don't when we have two guests on the show, but we have time to do computer and technology news.
Well, let's do it. Tonight's Computer and Technology News is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. So what's the first story we got, Ben?
Oh, first story. Okay, well, other than the first... By the way, you didn't have anything to say about the first story that I did? Like, you probably weren't even listening.
No, I wasn't listening. I was trying to get a guest on the phone.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. No problem. Okay, how about this one? This is NVIDIA. You know them. They make, computer chips, very tightly related to Intel. And so what NVIDIA Press Invite teases new gaming product launch. And this is from Paul Lilly. This actually came out yesterday, but it was pretty big news, so I thought I'd include it today. Maxim PC. And mysterious product announcement is 3 weeks away. So, yeah, we still made the deadline. Quick, does anyone have Encyclopedia Brown on speed dial? Kudos, by the way, if you know who that is, because I don't. And if you do, perhaps you're good at solving mysteries. That trait might come in handy when trying to figure out what NVIDIA has in store for 3 weeks from now. NVIDIA has been sending out press invites for a special event, quote-unquote, that will take place on March 3rd, and at that time it will reveal a product that promises to, quote, redefine the future of gaming.
Wow, that's a heck of a statement. Wow.
That's a very bold statement.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's coming from NVIDIA. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Coming from NVIDIA, who makes some of the best graphics cards out there.
Yeah.
So they have a quote here. I would like to invite you to attend a very special event on March 3rd. More than 5 years in the making, what I want to share with you will redefine the future of gaming. I look forward to seeing you there. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang states in the invite, while we'd love it if NVIDIA shocked the world with a new affordable GPU that's capable of 8K gaming and that with all settings max, early speculation suggests that this is a mobile play. Part of the reason is for that is because NVIDIA showed off its Tegra X1 Superchip at the Consumer Electronics Show last month, though not with any accompanying devices. So, and by the way, they have the actual invite here with the signature and everything. So the odds on favorite right now is the NVIDIA will announce a next generation Shield tablet built around Tegra X1. Other than that, however, it's a guessing game as to what other hardware and features will be included.
Wow.
But that's a very bold statement saying that what I want to share with you will redefine the future of gaming.
Yeah. Well, it is a bold
Bold statement, but if anyone was going to make that statement, it wasn't going to be Jim Bob in his basement in Alabama who has no connections to the industry. You wouldn't believe him. But this is the CEO of NVIDIA who makes crazy amounts of chips and always has the latest graphics cards and latest chips. So maybe, just maybe, he'll show something. I'm hoping NVIDIA is going to come out with some kind of new interface or new way to power these augmented reality and virtual reality helmets.
Well, maybe.
Because we really don't know what's inside of these things, but if they're perfecting the chips to go into those, that'd be really cool.
Be awesome. And of course, maybe after we hear it, just in time, we'll have a Grayson Hamilton. We can talk more about it in March, on one of our Gamer Tuesday shows.
For sure.
Hey, I like strange and really kind of sexy little twists they do on electronic devices, and so I realize this may just be eye candy, but I still think this is very, very cool. We have the smartphones and they're getting the bigger screens and doing this and everything, but Samsung is evidently getting ready to introduce the Samsung Galaxy S6. And they're saying that the display is going to reach onto 3 sides of the phone. This is I think kind of cool. Now, obviously smacked by competition from Apple's new iPhone 6, Samsung is looking to jazz up its next flagship Galaxy phone with a wraparound display, and they just may do that. The front, left, and right, 3 sides. Okay. The mobile phone maker plans to unveil 2 versions of its next Galaxy S phone, one with the standard front-facing display and one with a display that extends to 3 sides of the phone. Bloomberg reported on yesterday, citing people with direct knowledge of the matter, saying that this is a really good source, expected to take the stage at Mobile World Congress in early March. Both phones will have all-metal bodies, come with a 5.1-inch screens, and use Samsung's most advanced processors, again, according to the sources. Obviously, Samsung got hit with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, so that's one of the reasons. The report from Bloomberg of the 2 Galaxy S6 phone models echoes a similar story from Business Insider published last month. The main difference is that Business Insider story claimed that only one model would come out with a metal body while the other would stick with the traditional plastic. Evidently, so they're both going to come metal. They already offer a phone with an Edge display, namely the Galaxy Note Edge, outfitted with a 5.6-inch screen that curves onto the right side to display various icons and notifications. But the whole idea here is that this is going to have, it's not going to wrap around, not only wrap around, but the actual size will have its own set of icons that will affect, what you're seeing on the main screen. And I just think it's kind of slick. At the same time, you wonder, if you're holding the phone, though, you're going to touch the left and right side of the phone. Wouldn't that cause spurious inaccuracies, by holding it?
I think maybe to activate it, you have to start at the bottom and slide up, or start at the top and slide down, whichever interface they use. It's not going to be a constantly active sidebar, but you could kind of like unlocking your phone, you would unlock, the sidebar.
Yeah, it could be. But you see, if you would hold it normally like a normal phone, you would think your fingers and your thumb would,
That's why I can't imagine it would be constantly on, because you'd be constantly touching it. And these people, they're smartphone manufacturers. They're not stupid. No. So there has to be some way to turn it on or turn it off, or they have to have a workaround. They can't just say, "Oh, you're holding your phone wrong." No one would be stupid as to do that.
You mean they wouldn't say, "Oh, we didn't think of that"? You mean you actually might touch the sides by accident? We never occurred to us. No, I don't think it's going to happen.
That was a dig at Apple, but I think it blew right past you. No. Our antenna's not broken. You're just holding your phone wrong.
That's right, exactly.
I'm sure they've tested it.
I'm sure they have, and they figured it out. But I'm curious to see. I think it's novel.
It's a cool little. It's cool, honestly, seeing it.
Yeah. Well, actually, what we're looking at a picture of the Galaxy Edge, which now shows the one side. But now what we're going to see is a phone that's going to have that on the left and the right side, in addition to the face of the phone. So, I think it's gonna be interesting. Can't wait to see it. Okay.
Totally. Okay. Okay. So, but that's the Galaxy 6 or the S6, and
Yep.
by the way, Samsung Galaxy, they always sell very, very well. So.
Yeah, Samsung, sure, absolutely. Okay, so do you want me to take another story, or do you want to do something?
No, I got one.
Okay.
This next story, this one is probably one of the most popular ones today.
Mm-hmm.
The other very popular one is a feel-good story, but this one has some implications for people at home.
Okay.
And it involves a company you've heard about on the show before, because we've actually talked about them.
Ooh.
Tesla.
Yes.
Tesla plans a home battery pack to help keep the lights on. So yeah, this one is from Tech Hive, Jared Newman, and Tesla's crusade against fossil fuels could soon hit home with a battery-powered energy pack. The company plans to start producing a home battery within 6 months, and will reveal more details in the next month or two. So we'll obviously be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
One obvious application would be a source of backup power, replacing conventional fuel-powered generators.
Mm-hmm.
The upcoming Toyota hydrogen-powered car can also function as a backup power source for a house.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
A car that's a backup power source for your house. That's cool.
That is cool.
But the Tesla pack could also help shift energy usage to reduce peak demand on the electrical grid, thereby cutting down on energy bills. In an earnings call, Tesla Chief Technologist Officer hinted at strong interest from utility companies for that very reason. As you know, sometimes power companies, they get hit with these spikes, and it's when people get home, they turn their air conditioning down, or they wake up in the morning and everyone starts their coffee maker. Like, people's energy consumption is not constant throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So they get hit with these peaks, and if you use energy during these peak times, let's say you go home and you turn on the television, start cooking dinner, and fire up the laptop, and you do that all around 7 o'clock in the afternoon, that's more of a peak time than, say, 3 o'clock in the morning. And
Right.
therefore, the power companies are actually charging you more for that power.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're hoping that by using these power packs, you can actually feed off of the battery pack for a couple hours to help reduce peak times and reduce the draw from the grid, and then all the other time it would actually replenish itself naturally and kind of even out the whole rising and the falling of the power grid.
Sure, exactly.
So yeah, so that's what Tesla's hoping for in that regard. So potentially homes with renewable energy sources such as solar panels could also power the pack, allowing users to wean or remove themselves from the electrical grid. Because again, batteries are one of the we think of them in the phone and in your gaming devices, in your cars, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But battery packs, they're build them big enough, and they're big enough they're powerful enough to power entire homes. Yeah. And with renewable energy, you pretty much have those, like if you have solar or wind, you pretty much have power packs already. But with Tesla, it seems like they're planning on producing them at a much more affordable rate than other people, and probably much better. So
yeah, and
they said that.
I'm saying the way it looks too is something interesting to it, because it's going to be the Model S pack's going to be like flat, 5 inches off the wall mounted with a nice cover, integrated bi-directional inverter and plug and play. So it's going to be really easy to set up.
Yeah, no, so if anyone's going to do this, it seems like Tesla can do it, because they've recently built a factory for producing lithium-ion batteries in, I want to say, Arizona. It's a massive power plant. Like, it's because they've been producing them in other factories all around the world, but they said, you know what, batteries are the technology of the future, so we're going to build a plant to build our own batteries. And it seems like everyone thought it would just be for their new cars that are coming out. It turns out they're also going to be producing batteries for their own electric cars, but also for homes and any other uses they can seem to find. Tesla is jumping into the battery market.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Well, and it's a natural progression, I would think, too. I mean, obviously they have the technology. It's just I think it's a natural progression to expand what it is that they're doing.
Because if they get battery packs that can charge very quickly, hold a charge, and then release that charge very slowly. And let's say they perfect it in cars, where cars can go 500 or 600 miles after 2 hours of charging, or even after 10 hours of charging, and then go 500 or 600 miles. That just means that their technology to charge and release that charge is getting so good that even homes or boats or any other thing that could use a battery is looking at that exact same technology.
Yep, I think so.
So, and like I said, they're going to be releasing new details of this in the coming months, so we're going to keep an eye on it. But this is the kind of big stuff that this is the kind of stuff you want to hear about. Craig says it all the time. We say it all the time. Batteries are the chokehold right now on technology.
Yes, it is.
So,
they are.
Stuff like this is good.
Yes, it is. Very good. Hopefully we'll continue to see it. And obviously Tesla has the wherewithal to pull it off. Here's an interesting story from CNET. Sling TV is in the news because they're offering free Amazon Fire TV stick, Roku streaming sticks, and half-price boxes. In other words, paying $60 in advance for 3 months of Sling TV service earns you the right to choose from 4 excellent streaming devices from Roku and Amazon. Free sticks or $50 boxes. The Sling TV launched earlier this week with the promise of no commitments and freedom from cable TV bundling, but its latest promotion requires a commitment and bundles devices with the service. For a limited time, according to Sling TV site, you can pick up a stick for free, or you can opt for a $50 streaming box that's half off the price of it. The catch? Okay, well, you must commit to 3 months of Sling TV, which starts at $60 a month. Now, if you don't already own one of these devices, that's actually a pretty sweet deal. The Amazon offer involves the choice of a free Fire Stick TV or a $50 Fire TV box to people who prepay for 3 months of Sling TV, which costs $60. Not to be outdone, Roku has basically the same promotion: a free Roku streaming stick or a $50 Roku 3 box with 3 prepaid months of Sling TV. Now, the author of this story says he'd rather take the Roku 3 deal, but all of the devices have their merits. That said, he said he experienced sluggish response times when he tested the Sling TV app on a Roku streaming stick. Now, while the Roku app was available at the launch, the Sling TV app just launched today for Amazon Fire TV devices. He says, we're still in the process of hands-on testing. He says, I'll update our comprehensive Sling TV review with his impressions coming up soon. But hey, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
Oh yeah, no, not a bad deal at all.
Oh.
The Sling TV seems like they're really, for the first time ever, a major cable company is trying to re-engage their audience that are cutting the cord.
Yeah.
Like they're trying everything they can to bring them back into the service, but they're trying everything they can. But hey, why not re-engage them?
Yep.
All right. So this next story, the next story that I wanted to cover, if I can just find it here, is actually one of the more feel-good stories. And this is a 19-year-old kid. As a kid, he's like 5 years younger than me. 19-year-old who actually built a $350 robotic arm. But that's not the amazing thing yet. While the feat is amazing in itself, he tells you how to build it for free. His $350 arm. So a 19-year-old recent high school graduate who built a $350 $350 robotic arm controlled with thoughts is showing anyone who how to build it free. His goal is to let anyone who is missing an arm use the robotic arm as a vastly cheaper cost than the prosthetic limb that can cost tens of thousands of dollars. And believe me, I know firsthand, I don't mind using that pun, firsthand that prostheses can be very, very expensive because they're custom made and they go through a lot of manufacturing. So when he was 14, this gentleman built a robotic hand controlled by a wireless control glove. He used Legos to back the device, motors from toy airplanes, fishing line for the tendons, and electrical tubing for the fingers. He entered the robotic hand into a 2011 Colorado State Science Fair, where he won 3rd place. I really want to see what number place 1 and 2 did. So he says his inspiration for the hand hit him when he met a 7-year-old girl who was born without her right arm.
Yeah.
She used a prosthetic limb that cost $80,000. Wow. He immediately began to work on a dramatically cheaper alternative. While perfecting his robotic hand, he contacted a popular YouTube user with over 90,000 subscribers called Jeremy Blum, who fixed the programming code that allowed the control glove to wirelessly communicate with the hand. Aiming to make the hand as inexpensive as possible, he bought an old Nintendo Power Glove and used it and used its sensors. And they actually have a
video.
They actually have they actually have a 3D printed hand that they kind of used as a mock-up to show how the sensors are used. So now that it's now it was time to turn his hand into a fully operational robotic arm, and he wanted to figure out ways to make it really cheap, and it would cost about $500 to use a 3D printing service. Too much for a high school student on a potato chip budget. So him and Mr. Blum obviously worked on some kind of partnership, and all said and done, he made a fully working robotic arm that cost about $350 to make with access to a 3D printer, which is stunning. And then he was invited apparently to TEDx. TED Talks are very, very famous, and he shows you, if you're in need of something like this, they'll actually show you, free of charge, how to make one for yourself for free.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Because they're right, the prostheses are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So if you can get a robotic hand and it works somewhat decently, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be. Well, that's really, really impressive to see something like that. He's only 19 years old, too.
Yep.
We have time to do one more quick story, I think. And the one I want to do is this one. This is from Ars Technica. Apple is increasing the maximum size of its iOS app binaries for the first time ever. Okay. Since the introduction of the App Store in 2008, Apple is increasing the maximum size of the app binaries that developers can upload to iTunes Connect. The company announced today that the cap would increase from 2 gigs to 4 gigabytes, though this doesn't affect the 100 megabyte limit imposed on apps downloaded on cellular networks. The iOS app binaries contains both the executable file of all the images, sounds, and other assets that the app needs. Everything from icons to splash screens to user interfaces, all included in one big file. Because of how they're packaged, these binaries can get rather large. Binaries include all the assets for all the devices they support. So if you're shipping a universal app that supports all iOS 8 devices, for example, you've got a Retina iPhone assets, Retina and non-Retina iPad assets, and special 3X assets specifically for the iPhone 6 Plus. Okay. Universal apps include all those assets, and the binary you download from the App Store is the same whether you've got an old iPhone 4S or a brand new iPad Air 2. If you're running on an iPhone, for example, a universal binary will still contain assets for other iPhones and iPads, increasing the amount of space the app needs, even though some of those extra assets aren't needed for your device. Okay. Xcode 6 partially supports vector graphics to ease the developer burden of maintaining and generating all those assets, but they're still stored as PNG files when the binary is built and uploaded. Increasing the maximum allowable size for apps will give developers more flexibility, and ultimately that's going to be a good thing. Unfortunately, your device's storage space isn't going to scale with it, and Apple continues to sell 8 gig and 16 gigabyte devices at the low end, and even through mid and high-end devices, even though they got a higher storage boost last year. So basically, that's it. If you have an 8 gigabyte iPhone, you better start weeping because there's not much life left for your phone. That's what this basically means.
I guess there's a point where backwards compatibility is good, and even standardization is good, but the fact that this is the first time they're changing it since the iPhone came out.
Yeah.
How long is it? That's like almost a decade, right?
At least, yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
So it's good that they're finally changing it, and I hope they don't change it too drastically, where it's just going to be a complete rewrite for everyone who's making anything for an Apple phone. But at the same time, it's good that they're giving developers more more room to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, it's bound to happen. You have to move on. That's it. Eventually you have to get rid of the legacy. Hey, we're out of time, pretty much. But again, I want to thank our guests for both hours. We had Speaker on and Sticky Password, and they were especially that Speaker. We learned a new word. Ben learns a social. What is it?
Oh, apparently I learned a new word. Craig did not learn anything. So.
Social influencer is exactly.
An influencer.
And speaking of an influencer, we're going to have our own influencer on the show tomorrow night. Ralph Bond is going to be here.
90 seconds.
Yes, Ralph Bond. He is. He's
our favorite influencer.
Yes, he is, and he's got some really great stories. Tomorrow night we're going to be talking about, including a chair that builds itself. What? That's right. MIT has made a chair that builds itself. There's some of the stories we're going to be doing about it. And then 3D printers are now going to be able to print drones. A 3D printed drone, complete with circuitry built in. We're going to be talking about
60 seconds.
And also the world's first 3D printed car. Some of the stories we're going to be doing tomorrow night with Ralph Bond. So some great stories here on the show, and we look forward to having him on the program. So that wraps it up. Again, thanks to our guests for being here, and we will see you tomorrow night here on the show. Oh, look at this. A Bluetooth headset that can record your calls. That's kind of neat. That's all?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so that wraps it up, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night with Ralph Bond. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
10 seconds.
What's a floppy?
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow with Ralph Bond. See you tomorrow, and it's Friday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.